Welcome back everyone to another episode, and today we are gonna color the previous illustration that we did, the squirrel Pororo, that you can find in the previous video here. And we initially wanted to do an illustration just with watercolors. I'm using all Ben watercolors. And then I said, okay, I want to experiment a little bit more. And some months ago, I bought these gouaches, Arteza 60-pack gouaches, without the cat. And I decided today to keep experimenting with them because I previously experimented and I was not very satisfied with it. So today I said, okay, I want to use those gouache because I paid for them, and at least I want to understand if I have to keep using them or not. So, and I wanted to use them with my professional watercolors, the Albane one, because I wanted to see the difference and the contrast between a good quality watercolor and the Arteza gouache. So let's just jump in the video, the coloring process, that will start with the watercolors, and then I will do some details with gouache, some flowers, and then there we can see which were the problems with this gouache, if I like it or not, and yes, basically everything in my opinion and my feedback. So let's see how this gouache basically will perform. Thank you very much. So the first 10 minutes of this video they will be focused on the watercolor process. So if you want to hearing my opinion about the Arteza gouaches, just jump to the minute 10 of this video. And if you want to keep enjoying the Pororo, the squirrel coloring process with Albane watercolors, enjoy, and let's see you in a few minutes for the gouache feedback. Thank you. So when I finished the watercolor, I looked at the piece and said, it's nice, but it feels a little bit flat. So I say to myself, I want to add some depth and some graduation between the background and the first layer. So I said I'm going to experiment with gouache since I just tried a little bit but not so much. So I started basically painting and creating some flowers to the left and some bluebell flowers to the right. Why with gouache? Because basically with gouache, since it's an opaque medium, I was able to create like a first sight layer. I don't know, it's the first layer basically that pop up, no? Like when you zoom with the camera. The problem that I had when I did this, because the idea was nice and I reached the goal, but on the other side was the problem. The problem was basically intrinsically in the quality of the products that I'm mixing together, so that I'm trying to make them collaborate. So the watercolor, the Urbane watercolors, and the Arteza gouache. So the problem is a difference in quality, and this difference in quality, when I finish the flowers at some point, you will see it stand out. And the gouache, honestly, the Arteza gouache are very good for practicing with gouache, to have a feeling of gouache, but they are not very good quality. They are medium beginner quality, and if you're thinking on buying them, just buy the pack with less colors. You don't really need 60 tubes, because because basically, honestly, they felt a little bit dull, not very creamy as I supposed. They blended, but not so nicely as I imagined it, and basically, so the first problem was the problem of quality, as I said. And the second problem that I had is that when I created the first layer and the background was in watercolor, there was too much difference. So technically, visually, there was too much difference. So I had to create a gradient layer, a middle layer, diluting watercolors at some point to create some kind of blurry background that standed between the first layer of gouache and the third layer of watercolors. So in definitive, because I don't want to make this too long, Arteza gouache, in my opinion, they are good for practice. I will not never use them again for illustration that I really like, or that I would really at some point do some print. So I would advise just to begin with gouache, but not on other levels. And you don't really need the 60 bucks, as I said. If you really want the 60 bucks because you can find more tubes and more colors, I can understand. The only thing that I really liked of the pack is that they have some pearl and metallic tones that are nice. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video, the continuation, the process, and Pororo and the music of Pororo, the squirrel. So thank you again, and see you to the next episode. Bye.